Health Vibes every Wednesday on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Jolly's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare.
A pleasant good morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I know, depending on what location you are in Dominica, you may be still experiencing some rain. Right now, the sun is out in Roseau. If you are traversing throughout the island and you're on your way to Roseau, the sun is out. But as they would say, still walk with your umbrella, particularly if you're walking with an elderly person or if you have a child or toddler. You really want to walk with your umbrella. As we know, we are in the summer season, but we are in the hurricane season as well. And the weather can be quite unpredictable at times. But it's a pleasure being here with you this morning on Health Vibes. I'm your host, Carlton Lando. And as you know, we speak all the vibes on Health Vibes. We try to bring to you credible information, applicable information as it relates to our general health and wellness and everything that speaks about optimizing our health. So we look at spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, and even social health. All aspects of health is covered here on Health Vibes each week. Today, I am solo, as I said. We are going to have a very interactive, socially argumentative, hot topic this morning. I do know that I'm anticipating many calls, many perspectives and opinions on that specific topic. But I think it is one that warrants discussion. I think it is one that if we want to really have conversation that sort of really broadens our perspective and our ideologies and even opinions and beliefs. I think it is one of the topics that certainly will bring out all of what I have just mentioned. Just reminding you that the month of July is quickly approaching. It is a very significant month for us on our calendar here at Jollies, as we every July we celebrate our Customer Appreciation Week, and that commences on the third week of July. This year, it is promised to be one of fun, one of giveaways, one of humanitarianism, and one that will surpass last year. So we are hoping that you will begin to save some money aside. Looking forward to seeing you as we celebrate our Customer Appreciation Week of activities that will commence very soon, just about the third week in July of this year. So just reminding you of that, our Customer Appreciation Week, which is scheduled to take place on the third week of July. That is next month. As we know, June is wrapping up. It was my month. I started the month. 1st of June was my birthday. And so my month is saying goodbye. And we are, I think, come Sunday. Sunday is the 1st of July. I think this coming Sunday is the 1st of July. So um, we want you to remember that significant week, the third week in July, our Customer Appreciation Week. My co-host Trudy Christian is out of state, as you would have known that she accompanied this Dominica State College at the Arthur Lewis and Dominica State College debate competition that was held in St. Lucia. I know that Dominica won, I think, the first leg of the debate, and St. Lucia won the second leg of the debate. So it would seem that there may have been a tie, 1-1. But I know that our students do well and continue to really excel under the leadership of Trudy Christian, who seems to be extremely passionate about debating and really holding wholesome discussions on very relevant topics. And it would seem that if she were here this morning, the topic that we're going to have today, it is one that I am sure that they may have debated already in the past, because it is extremely popular, particularly as it relates to the US elections. It is one of those um, debates that often sways voters for and against. And so this morning we're going to look at this. But what we're going to do, we're going to take a short break, and then I will actually begin by reading an excerpt from the Observer newspaper in Antigua, and then subsequently that will give you an idea as to what we are going to be discussing this morning on Health Vibes. So please stay tuned and really put your volume a little louder. I will give you the numbers, those of you who do not know the numbers. And of course, you are welcome to give your contribution, even if you reside outside of Dominica. I will also include that number. If you reside out of Dominica, if you want to make a contribution, that number that you'll be able to call. So we're going to take a break, and then I'll be right back with you on Health Vibes this morning.
Who say health cannot have vibes? Well, Jolly's Pharmacy is proving you otherwise. With Health Vibes, every Wednesday morning on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Health Vibes, education, information, and a bit of humor. And not forgetting lots of vibes. Hosted by Carlton Lango with co-hosts Jacinta Fagandifo and Trudy Kristen. Jolly's Pharmacy is bringing health and vibes together every Wednesday, so be sure to tune in. Health Vibes every Wednesday on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Jolly's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare. Who say health cannot have vibes? Well, Jolly's Pharmacy is proving you otherwise. With Health Vibes, every Wednesday morning on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Health Vibes, education, information, and a bit of humor. And not forgetting lots of vibes. Hosted by Carlton Lango with co-hosts Jacinta Fagandifo and Trudy Kristen. Jolly's Pharmacy is bringing health and vibes together every Wednesday, so be sure to tune in. Health Vibes every Wednesday on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Jolly's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare.
Introducing Jolly's Pharmacy, brand new website, www.jollies.tm. It's your time to jump the line. Shop now at jollies.tm and have your items delivered in the comfort of your office. No more standing in line. No need to use your lunch hour to shop. Hassle-free shopping, safe and secure. Jollies.tm features rush delivery, 1 hour. In-store pickup, regular delivery, 5 p.m. Cut-off time, 4 p.m. It's your time to jump the line. Visit us at www.jollies.tm. Jollies Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare.
Who say health cannot have vibes? Well, Jolly's Pharmacy is proving you otherwise. With Health Vibes, every Wednesday morning on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Health Vibes, education, information, and a bit of humor. And not forgetting lots of vibes. Hosted by Carlton Lango with co-hosts Jacinta Fagandifo and Trudy Kristen. Jolly's Pharmacy is bringing health and vibes together every Wednesday, so be sure to tune in. Health Vibes every Wednesday on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Jolly's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare.
So we're back with you on Health Vibes this morning. As I did say to you, I am solo today. My co-host, Trudy Christian, is out of state, and she should be back next week, Wednesday, with us. And Jacinta Fagandifo as well isn't in today either. So this morning, as I said, we are going to be discussing a topic that seemed to be really raising its head in the Caribbean basin. We know that it is a topic that is very, very prevalent during the campaigning and election season in the US. And in the Caribbean, we are seeing a lot of advocacy for and against um, the topic of abortion. And that's what we're going to be talking about this morning. Um, Her body, her choice. Who decides? And I know that many of you will have a say or may want to call. I will give you the numbers very soon. But what I want to do is really begin with a news excerpt that came from the Observer newspaper in Antigua. And it's headlined: Study shows high abortion rates, sexual violence in Antigua and Barbuda amid legal reform debates. It may still be illegal, but it is more common than you think. A recent study suggests that nearly 3 out of every 4 women in Antigua and Barbuda will have an abortion by the time they reach the mid 40s. It's as simple, it's as simply as walking into a pharmacy and purchasing specific pills under the table. Fred Nunes, a regional advocate originally from Jamaica, has been conducting extensive research across the Caribbean, including the Twin Island nation, to combat unsafe abortion practices. Nunes, known for his pivotal role in legalizing abortion in Guyana during the 1990s, focuses on advocating for social justice and women's reproductive health through his charity, Aspire. Aspire operates in several Caribbean countries, including Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, St. Lucia, Trinidad and Tobago, and Jamaica. The organization is currently involved in legal initiatives aimed at overturning colonial era laws in Antigua and Barbuda and Dominica that prohibit abortions under all circumstances except when the woman's life is at risk. According to Nunes, latest findings in Antigua shows 72% of women in Antigua will have an abortion by age 44. He therefore emphasized the urgency for women to address the quote unquote the problem, power to change the law. Nudes argues strongly against the notion that non enforcement of existing laws makes them harmless, a certain instance that it renders them frivolous. Frivolous, rather. His message to local policymakers is: make policies based on information, based on data, based on evidence, not based on some black box of ignorance or some values. If we are to make public policy intelligently, it needs to be based on both facts and values. End of quote. Meanwhile, a separate survey conducted by Aspire revealed alarming rates of sexual violence in Antigua and Barbuda. More than 1 in 4 women reported experiencing sexual violence, including rape, partner abuse, and childhood sexual abuse. The findings led the medical team involved in the study to describe the situation as appalling and characterize it as gender violence to the core. Aspire's research also indicates strong support within the medical community to expand legal grounds for abortion. A survey of local healthcare professionals showed that 78% favored broader abortion laws, to protect not only women's lives, but also their physical and mental health, including cases of severe fetal deformity, rape, incest, and mental health issues. Despite, despite widespread use of abortion in Antigua and Barbuda, stigma surrounding the procedure persist. Efforts to amend the 19th century offenses of the Person Act has sparked contentious debate, particularly among religious leaders opposed to abortion on religious grounds. The government recently stated that it will not defer to the courts on this matter. Attorney General Sir Stedroy Benjamin has publicly advocated for maintaining existing laws, while religious groups like the Evangelical Alliance um, strongly opposes any relaxation of abortion restrictions based on religious doctrines. Should abortion be legal? Her body, her choice. What are your views? Is it a woman's choice to choose what occurs inside of her body? Does the state have that right to determine the welfare of that woman's choice, quote unquote? So let's suppose that a woman who is uneducated, unskilled, quite young, under the age of 25, has already two children, single woman, both fathers have walked out of her life, and she's left in an almost impoverished state, raising two children. And then here comes the third guy comes, promises her well, impregnates her, and she's pregnant again. And she's wondering what to do. Someone may argue that the very state that may decide or may want to imprison her, if she decides to have a what we call a backstreet abortion, may want to arrest her and imprison her. Will the state, if that child were to come to birth, would the state jump in and care for that child until that child reaches the age of 18? What are your views? And so the debate continues. It's a very contentious debate happening throughout the Caribbean. And as this advocate, Dr. Nunes from Jamaica, has been advocating for the rights of female, I think he's also looked at other variables such as the issue of mental health, the issue of deformities, if the child may be deformed, incest, rape. And we do know that the Caribbean is one of the regions in the world that seem to have a very high rate of incest and child abuse. The issue of mental health, that female may be mentally be disabled, or may have a mental disorder and may have been raped or abused. Can she take care of that child? And so we really wanted to kind of broaden the discussion, because yesterday that discussion was held on another radio station, and I listened attentively, and it was coined "My Body, My Decision," whether I choose birth or abortion. And this same Dr. Nunes was on as one of the guests. And I believe there was also a public health expert, Dr. Miss Tonia Frame, was on as well, both of which are of the opinion that it's really the woman's right to choose what are the views. The lines are already in action. I am going to start taking the calls and hear your views on this topic.
Good morning, Carlton. How you
Good
doing?
good morning to you, caller.
I'm on my way outside. Let me take the first call.
Yes.
Carlton, good morning. In a case that a mental woman gets pregnant, sometimes she doesn't even know what the hell she's doing when she gets pregnant. And maybe her parents, she has on the age. I can understand that. In the case of rape, I can understand a person. You don't want to carry a child as a man raped you and you forever have that
Scar.
that man that raped me. And I get that all the time it can work out to your benefit because when you watch Rowley say he was Rowley fight his Trinidad. He was a product of rape.
Mm.
Yes. And that's how we do. But sometimes you don't know what you're going to have. And sometimes the person that raped you, you don't want to know you're carrying that person's child. So in that case, I can understand. But if a woman has 2 children already, a man came back on you, make one for that father, and you get pregnant for another man. What a question that. You know what you were doing. So why you want to have an abortion? You should first protect yourself from unwanted child. From going to have an abortion, right? So that abortion thing there is I don't know, it's a hit and miss thing. Is that
I understand.
it's a hit and miss. When you meet a man, a young girl might meet a man, man tell I love you, I love you. And some of the men might use that thing and say, well, I pull out. Why you didn't check? I pull out, telling me you're pregnant. I want to carry a child because the man tells her she pull out and the man not even want to take that child because he tells her he pull out. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yes. So that thing there is really a problem.
But do you think, though? I just wanted to ask you too. Do you think that the state has the right to decide what happens with a home in a woman's body?
No, because the state doesn't know the hell you're eating. The state doesn't know you're drinking. What the state have to do is when you get pregnant and you're making an abortion for. No, the state shouldn't have.
So you think that's a decision between the mother and the doctor, the person, the doctor?
Huh?
So you think that's a decision between the mother, the woman, and her doctor?
Amen to that. Not the state has nothing to this, and not the state business. The state business is responsibility, maybe it's like France and so they're still responsible for their children. They will be feeding their children, so maybe they can talk like that. But especially in the Caribbean leaders are responsible about people that send their children so they can do what the hell they want with their body. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you, caller. I see we have another caller. I suspect, the lines are going to go crazy today. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling. Caller, good morning. Let me just give the numbers again: 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097, 616-4257. And of course, you are welcome to call from overseas if you reside outside of Dominica. That number is 305-432-9624. That number again is 305-432-9624. Yes, and again, too, it is one of the very contentious debates in the presidential debate. I think that's going to be happening tomorrow evening. And every election in the U.S., that is a big issue, and we've been hearing a lot about the overturning of Roe versus I can't remember exactly the terms, but this whole abortion debate in the U.S. Where women think, well, it's their choice, it's their body, they should determine when to give to give term to a baby and when not to, because they know what's happening to them, they know their own plans there. So it is one that is getting very popular in the Caribbean as well, and and we just wanted to know your views this morning as to what you think. I know many times, because we were raised very religiously, a lot of our decisions are based on religion or religious beliefs as well. But we have a caller. Let's take this caller. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, Sue.
While I fully agree that the state should not has no right over what happens in a woman's body, are you telling me that a man can go out and have as much fun as he wants, and then when the consequences come, man or woman in this case, when the consequences come, the best way to deal with it is to have an abortion? That I would love to. And then where does, in your argument, in your case, where do you see morality factoring into this whole situation? Do you see that having any factor in this whole situation there? I say that morality is out of the window in today's world. And and then we have this mentality of thinking that we can match up with America only when it's convenient for us. Right?
Well, one may argue as well that if you're looking at the concept of morality, that it is culturally constructed depending on what part of the world that you are. In Dominica, for example, most of us in the Caribbean region or that part of the world, the Western world.
Well, that's why we are. We are a Christian society. Dominica is a Christian society, and we have to follow the cultures and the norms of Christian society. We cannot go and, because our case is in Dominica, no case in Dominica, a case that happens in China has no effect on our case, no matter what. We follow a particular thing in our court system.
Mhm.
Likewise, in our morals, we go around the Christian morality. So we cannot go and look at what happened in the Hindu beliefs, and we don't recognize Hindus, we don't recognize Muslims and those things in our culture.
So
It's a
from
Christian society.
yeah, so from your perspective, you are looking at it from a religious moral standpoint, not a societal in terms of governmental or laws in terms of who decides.
Well, you see, that is the point I'm making. I'm not looking at that any. I'm saying the woman has a right to do it. But when we make it carte blanche where the woman can go out tonight, I'm going out with this man tomorrow, obviously you know the consequence of every action that you take. Right? Every action will have a consequence. So when the consequence comes, you got to live with it. You do not compound the consequence with another immorality.
But then, someone could also argue too that it's the man's responsibility as well to protect, to use protection too.
I'll tell you what. It is the man's responsibility also. But I'm of the belief a woman gets pregnant only if she wants to get pregnant. You know why? The only thing a man can do to prevent pregnancy, and it's not safe, is a condom.
Mhm.
The woman has a dozen other things. She has a coil, she has IUD, she has this very same condom, she has everything at her disposal. The man only has a condom. So when a woman gets pregnant, it is because in 99% of the time, she did not protect herself as she should have. Right?
Thank you, caller.
And so for us to just say, now that you've gone out, you've been irresponsible, you can redress that situation by having an abortion. I am asking, where are we putting Christianity and morality in this whole debate?
Very interesting point. Very interesting perspective as well. And I like the debate so far. I see we have another caller, and again, you can view us live on QFM Facebook page. We're live on Facebook page. I think we're live on YouTube as well. So you can view the show. You can make your comments as well. I'm not seeing any comments. I don't know if we can get the comments, or maybe I might be able to read some of them. But good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling. Good morning, caller. The lines are going.
Carlton.
Yes, good morning to you, miss.
Blessed morning to you, to my brother.
Good morning to you, sir.
Yeah, can you hear me,
I'm
Carlton?
hearing you quite. I'm hearing you quite well.
Yeah, you have a very interesting topic there this morning. Your question of abortion, Carlton. I don't care who you are, which leader you are. I think we should go based on what God said, what the Bible. Biblically speaking, let's go based on a manual. Abortion should not be tolerated nowhere. I don't care who you are. That just should not be. I mean, a place like Dominica, that should not be tolerated. We should not promote that. We should go against abortion. Even even if one of the vagrants on the street would at least force themselves on your daughter, Carlton, you're supposed to just allow it to happen.
Well,
But
it's easy to say that, but then you have to also think of the psychosocial ramifications of that action. So for example, I have
Carlton,
1 second. So for example, I have a 14-year-old at home. I have a 9-year-old at home. And let's say one of my
right?
relatives were to um, sexually molest one of my girls, and they were to get pregnant. So you're saying to me that as a father, and it should be fine to say, well, let's just go to term with this, and everything will be fine. But what happens to that child and the trauma? Think of a 9-year-old child being pregnant with her uncles, for her uncle or for her father or for some other person, the trauma. So that is one of the arguments that the doctor raised, the mental health, the again, to can that child. It's a lot, the physiology. What does this pregnancy do to that, on the body, a young body like this? So it's
Carlton, while I
mhm.
fully understand the point you're making, I agree with the point you're trying to bring across. But let me tell you, Carlton, we need to let go sometimes and just let God have His way, things like that. We just pray to God that the psychological effect will not be impactful on that child. So that's what I'm saying is just let God have His way. We should just say no to abortion, Carlton. Take care now.
Thank you very much for your caller. Again, the debates, let's take this other caller. The lines are really going. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling. Your
Yeah, hello, sorry for
radios,
the radio.
can you look? Yeah. Good morning.
Yeah, yeah, I did. Hey, what's up?
I'm doing quite well.
Yeah, lovely, beautiful. Yeah, interesting conversation.
Thank you.
Well, I have a couple of questions. Though.
Yes.
One, I mean, echo. Anyway, doesn't matter. Um, the entity that's in the woman, is it a human or is it part of the woman? Is it a separate human being or part of the woman? That's the first question.
Okay.
Right? Right. The second question is, which of these, what would I say now? I would say states of life, right, would take precedence over the other? Life, liberty, or happiness? Which one has more precedence? Which one is more, you say, is dependent on the other, or which one is more important in terms of the broad scheme of things? Right. So the first question is the person inside of the entity inside of the woman, is it the woman or is it another separate human being? Secondly, right, in terms of precedence, which is more important? Is it life, liberty, or happiness? And thirdly, is it okay anywhere in the world to take an innocent human life? Right? That's the three questions. Is it okay? So I don't know if you want to answer this, or if you want me to answer it.
You can answer it. But you see, I think from where the debates seem to be swayed, it's looking at because it's the legality right now the that abortion is illegal in most of the Caribbean islands. Okay. And
Yeah.
the question is, when these other variables or situation comes in play, what role or what can this woman do? Because it's almost like she's now squeezed. She has to accept, okay, she's the vessel, and this, whatever this circumstance that may have caused her to get impregnated and have to bring forth that child, she has to deal with it all by herself. And so I understand what you're talking about, the sequence of life, liberty, happiness. But then from the debate from the experts, they're looking at it from a broader perspective. Even when the survey was done, they said a survey of local healthcare professionals from the Caribbean was conducted and showed that 78% of these healthcare professionals favored broader abortion laws to protect not only women's life, but also their physical and mental health. So that
Yeah,
I. Mhm.
well, yeah.
Yeah, well, they're medical professionals. They're not philosophical or what should I say it now? Ethical or ideological professionals. So I don't think they should actually take it upon themselves to cross that bridge over into another discipline that they are not experts in. Right? They are, like you said, they are medical professionals and they're given their own personal opinions that are not actually that don't have much of a basis in their professional medical experience, right?
But then you saying that
I would just modify whatever in terms of they being medical professionals, that I have to actually put their opinions on a pedestal. Okay, no, I will not do that. Okay, if you were to tell me, okay, fine, a group of medical professionals think where it is okay to maybe it's better to issue anesthesia for whatever procedure, fine, that is their field, right? But in terms of the social and the psychosocial and the moral or whatever, I personally I don't think that I would have much I would give much weight to their opinion. I really
so you have the view
right?
you're against
Right.
that you're against any reformation of the law.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying that we should not rely too heavily on these folks, right? Who do not have whose profession do not fall within the domain, right, of the efficacy or the ethical ramifications or rectitude, right, of taking that particular course of action. Okay.
But in most of the cases,
yeah,
in most of the cases where abortions are done, it's done by a specialist doctor, a gynecologist. So it's not like any doctor just doing that.
The procedure is carried out, but
Yeah.
in terms of the justification for the procedure, right? That should not be his or her call.
Oh, so you're looking at the justice.
You get me?
But
Right, that's
okay.
okay. Because for instance, all you said that they were actually voicing their opinion, that actually falls into the second category that we just mentioned there, right? Pursuit of happiness. Understood? So that comes after the precedence, right? Life holds more, I would say, more gravity and importance than the pursuit. You have to have life for you to have happiness. All you telling me about the whole psychosocial thing, whatever have you, this comes secondary to the life of somebody else. So you're saying that I will take somebody else's life so that I will have the secondary concern of the pursuit of happiness, right? So which is important? You're taking something that is more important from somebody so that you can have something that is less important, so you can enjoy something that is less important. As well as because you can make the same argument for slavery, right? Right? The people who engaged in slavery, in the shadow of slavery, right? They took the liberty of the slaves, understood? They took their life, but they went one notch down the chain. They took their liberty for their pursuit of happiness. Understood? So if you have to follow the logic, the same logic. If we oppose slavery, right, we have to actually apply that same concept to that chain, right? If you oppose slavery, because you will say, well, I don't say the white number. Everybody have gone for the slavery, right? Or the slave masters would have curtailed the liberty of the slave for their happiness. So in the same way that if you have to go up the chain, the people who actually engaging in abortion, they actually curtailing the life, right? They go up the chain backwards. The life of the child for their liberty and happiness,
Thank
which
you.
I think is pretty much not right.
Thank you, Colonel.
Right. No, one more point. Somebody mentioned about in terms of the rape and whatever have you, in terms of the ramifications of rape, etc., etc. You know, I mean, I know of a case in the U.S., right? So I'm legally illegal dating. Right? To be sure, raped all of you, into America, I think back in the 80s or 70s. Right? And she had a choice to abort the child or to see the child too. The child actually grew up to become a professor, right, in a university, and he was quite happy that his mother did not make the choice to get rid of him. Okay, so yeah, so
Thank you.
We have many examples, so we can.
Thank you, Colonel.
It's a good discussion.
Thank you,
And,
Colonel.
yeah, love it.
I appreciate the contribution. I truly appreciate the contribution. Again, the numbers are 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097, 616-4257. And of course, if you reside of Dominica, you can also make a contribution. That number is 305-432-9624. We have a caller. Let's take this caller. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, miss.
These debates are always interesting.
Okay. I get that
Um,
voice already.
But and sometimes you wonder whether we stop and think clearly. For example, the law, according to what you said, I don't know what the law is, so I'll go according to what you said. The law in Dominica is that abortion is illegal unless, except under one condition, right?
Mm-hmm. The mother
That
is
is
the mother's life is at risk. Mm-hmm.
if her life is at risk.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what do we mean by the mother's life? Her ability to breathe? Is that what we're calling life? No, because here's the question: whenever a woman seeks an abortion, it's because she believes that her life is at risk, either maybe her quality of life, but her life in some ways at risk if she has that child. So, and you talk about the social aspects and the emotional and so on. That is a matter of life.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you saying that she has the right to decide what life means to her? That only the state has that right?
Mm.
And people make those arguments, and I don't think we think clearly through. So that's one thing. Then the people who talked about the moral aspect, which of course comes down to what the church decides,
Mm-hmm.
because God has never come down. No one can give me a document that says, God gave me this to you. They are saying what the church interprets things to be what morality is for the church. So, but if you step back, they're in fact saying that they want the state to enforce what the church believes. Now, what aspect of the church doctrine do you want the state to enforce? Only one or others? Then there's this gentleman who made this point, and I cringe when he said it. Even if a Pharaoh forces himself on a young lady and she gets pregnant, she must bear it on because God allowed it.
Mm-hmm.
And and the reason why I cringe is because, think about it this way. Some people say that abortion is murder, and it is a taking up a life. It is. And they say for that reason it shouldn't be. But the same people will agree that if you kill somebody in self-defense, that you shouldn't be punished for it. And I would wonder if they would say, well, if someone's going to kill you, you should say, well, God wants it, so let's allow it.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, the point that comes to me is people who are saying, and I'll be honest with you, I don't advocate for abortion, but I do advocate for the right to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think anybody goes around saying, let us have more abortions.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody who ever says that. But people say, if a woman finds herself in a position where, for whatever reason, she wants to make a decision, that must be made between herself and her doctor for obvious reasons. Because sometimes the doctor may be able to talk her out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But to criminalize it if she chooses. And so the point it comes down to is, where do we see ourselves as individuals in terms of our rights? When a woman has an abortion, it doesn't affect me. I don't die. I don't live longer. I don't get more money. I don't get any property if a woman has an abortion. And the people who are going about it should be legal and so on, it doesn't affect you. Why are you so insistent on infringing on someone's right to make a decision, which it may be a wrong decision? But I think we need to step back and stop this talk about morality, because let's face it, it is illegal in Dominica to drive above the speed limit. But
Okay.
the cops don't enforce that law all the time.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. I appreciate that. We have a few more calls online. So let's take this one. I will comment on some of the points that you've made. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Morning, Carlton. How you doing?
I'm doing quite well, sir. Good morning.
Man, I'm good, man. Good morning again to you and your listeners.
Yes.
And you just opened the Pandora box. Yeah, let me say something, Carlton. You're not gonna get an answer on this one
Mm-hmm.
because there's always gonna be pros and cons.
Mm-hmm.
There's gonna be the moral and immoral and the judgmental. But I will say, over the years, I've heard that argument, Roe versus Wade, and it finally made it way in the Caribbean. And basically, the church gonna come with one side, and everybody come in with the other side. But nobody never really sit down and let women decide because in the United States, there's a Supreme Court,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there's an imbalance. It's more men than women. Okay, a lot of them got voted by people of the evangelist side of the church, and the evangelist ideology sometimes vary from Catholic. Though both of them are against abortion, but that's a wide subject. When you have a woman and a man went to bed together, had sex, and the woman end up pregnant. But when come to make the decision and all the sacrifices of majority of it falls on the woman, and sometimes she do it all alone. No father never showed up, no support, no nothing. So I cannot stand in any discussion and defend that situation. Say, well, she can't have abortion. I don't know what she's dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Me as a man, I don't favor abortion, but I'm not gonna judge a woman for her actions. You understand what I'm saying?
I get you.
Yes, because of it's too many variables in that discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, for instance, the caller you just had a while ago, he made a very valid point from the states of where he was, and he said a young man whose mother was raped and she gave birth to him, and he became a professor. There are a lot of stories like that that we haven't heard. People thrive. Some people can't thrive. You have in the United States where a lot of people are going against people on welfare, fighting the system every which of the way, every step of the way to take bread out of poor people's mouth because of whatever condition or how the situation. I can't judge some of these things. But the same one who takes the bread out of people's mouth and deny them of a future, deny them of a place in the society, are the same one against a woman who want to have abortion. So you want to take care of the babies when she have it, or
Mm-hmm.
don't you? You can't have it both ways.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why when I hear this discussion, I try to stay out of it because I'm using logic, I'm using common sense, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not using my own personal side of the argument
Mm-hmm.
because there's no win or lose in it. It's too many variables, and whether it is wrong, immoral, or whatever we want to say, it's more than somebody's daily life. It's somebody who is responsible to take care of the baby. And if a man don't want a woman to have an abortion, him who laid with her and get her pregnant, he should be more involved in her life, more involved in she giving birth, more involved in every step of the way. You don't just lay down, you get your happiness, you pull your thing out and you go. It
Yeah.
don't work like that. Because if you want to have a productive and a moral a society full of morality and all these nice things that we're looking and calling out, then we individually must change our ways. We are man and woman must change our ways, change how we do things, and then we could say, well, we did our best. So we can't do that, or we should do that. You see what I'm saying? It's not a winning argument. You could never get a winning one on that one. But it's interesting listening to the conversation and
Thank
people's
you.
views.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And again, as this scholar has said, it's quite value laden. There are going to be so many different perspectives, and again, I personally believe it's there are so many layers to this decision when it's made, and many of us who are on the sideline, we may want to judge, but we're not in the person's shoe. And as someone was saying, yes, you might say, well, okay, bring forth the child. Will you assist that person with the needs of that child. Let's take this caller. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, Alfred, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well. Good morning.
I'm glad that you're doing quite well.
Okay, I know who's this.
There are some conversations that I don't mind engaging people in. There are some conversations that are something that I don't want to have. But I was forced to call because there are some questions that we have to ask ourselves. All right? And let me preface that by saying, if you want to smoke ganja and blow your brains off, you have a right. You can do that. If you want to drink alcohol and burn your liver, you also have a right. Am I not correct, Carlton?
You are correct.
If you want to have an abortion, you can do that. If you want to kill somebody, you can even do that too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you do any one of those things, it does not affect any other individual. Does it mean that you should do it? Does it also mean that if we take this argument, then there is no responsibility and governance for the collective good of the society? Now, if every one of us look at things logically for us, let's get rid of the society. Let's forget that. Let's go to the jungle and let's live, the jungle life. And we don't know order. We don't know, nothing like that. Let's get rid of that. So when we get into conversations like that, I think we need to think. And when it starts, when academics use what I think are very poor excuses for what they believe, because there are other people listening. So all of those things, you can do them without affecting you. If I drink rum, I fall down. What was it? T-shirt slang? I drink rum, I fall down, no problem, right? Because me, I drink rum, I fall down, I bruise my nose, no problem. And so we have to look at that. I agree that there are pros and cons on everything that you have to do. And historically, the whole question of alcohol and the genesis of decriminalizing alcohol years ago was argumentative, still is. And everything you want to decriminalize is going to be argumentative because there are people who will want to do it. There are people who don't want to do it. There are people who don't think that you should have a right on them, and they have a constitutional right to what they want to do with themselves. But along with constitutional rights, there are responsibilities. Along with constitutional rights, I think every constitution has a clause in another lawyer that says that you can exercise your constitutional rights as long as it does not affect the rights of somebody else. The question that somebody asked me very early on is a question that must be put under consideration. When you have an abortion, what really happens? What is really happening? Are you violating somebody's right? And I heard somebody say no. Well, yes, you are. You are. Ask a woman who has had an abortion, and she'll tell you that they come from that abortion with pain. Now, if it was like, our brothers and grandfathers, Carlton would say, "You're pinky, bully, and fool." You know that phrase, right?
No, I don't.
Well, when they tell you don't worry about somebody, it's like a bread that goes in the oven. Just forget it. The women who have had abortions really don't forget it. And the statistics also show that the pain, they hurt, and some of them hurt for the rest of their life. Some of them hurt for a long period of time until some of them get counseling, they come to themselves, whatever. So they also pain. And if they pain, it means that there is something that happened that they pain about. Now, so that every decision that one takes really and truly must be taken from both sides of the coin. And I understand the box that concerns morality and charity, and those are not always superimposed on each other. And that's not about the church wanting to impose morality on people. However, society started by God, and every time we go away from God's precepts, we hurt ourselves. We don't hurt God, we hurt ourselves. And
Thank
I
you.
want to,
Yeah, because we have a few
go
more
ahead.
callers coming in.
Yeah. So I want to say finally, Carlton, that conversation is on because you know that there's a legal challenge that has been covered in the court that nobody can cover yet. And I really hope that it gets uncovered for the real conversation to start in a real, dispassionate way. So thanks for starting the conversation. But
Thank you.
I just throw that in so people can consider those.
Thank you, caller. I appreciate that. Thank you for your perspective. We have another caller. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for holding. Good morning.
Hey, Mr. Thompson, what's up, man?
I'm doing quite well. Good morning to you.
Yeah, I want to trouble you a little bit. I'm not going to say no abortion. I'm not going to say abortion. But I'm just going to put something out there and then, what I'm saying, people think about it.
Mhm.
But I'm going to trouble you a little bit. Let me ask you a question. Do you believe that you, in yourself, is a very good example to Dominica?
I do.
Okay. And do you think your mom would have been doing Dominica a disservice if she did abort you?
That's an interesting question. But then
Huh?
I said that's an interesting question. But one may
Okay.
argue, but one may argue too that there could be many aspects of the development process that could have either influenced me negatively or positively to the point where I am. So there could be a lot of things that could have
Yeah,
made changes, you know? Mhm.
yeah, I agree with you, and this is why I told you I can't say abortion is right. I can't say not abortion is right. I'm not going to be there. I'm going to remain neutral.
I
But there's
understand.
some questions I can ask that will give people to think. Now, the thing is, no child is conceived, influenced to do good or bad at the same time or whatever. It's by after birth, you are influenced at a certain stage of your life to go what direction you choose. But if I heard a call of yours said it does not affect anybody and this thing. My brother, I was about to call earlier and ask the question, how does it affect Dominica and all this thing? But let me put this on the table to let you understand. If you have abortion, it affects the country. I'll tell you how. You are a man and you get a woman pregnant. Maybe that's the only child you can have. What if the woman abort that? You stay without a child as a man. So you might have inheritance, you don't have nobody to pass it on to. Right? Number two, when women or women abort children, or you have a law for them to abort children, you actually open the door for women to lose their dignity and pride and all these things because they feel like, hey, I can just sex maybe without protection. If I get pregnant, I can abort that. And these women becomes example in society to the younger women coming up that would think they can abort the child if they make a child. You know what I'm saying? They use protection. So it affects the country on a whole. And the young child coming up is another man's daughter. So the man might be trying to raise his daughter properly, and there is a bad influence where, hey, you can just abort that man if you get pregnant. Messed up his daughter's lifestyle. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So there is a lot in this thing that people have to look at. That's why I say I'm going to remain neutral where this is concerned. So everybody might just think, well, yeah, let's kill the child. But at the end of the day, you might be killing a king or prince. What if, let me ask you a question again. What if LeBron James' mother did abort him because she don't know who the father is? Look at that today. You
Mhm.
just destroyed a great example where sports is concerned for youth to grow up. You understand what I'm saying? So
I get
we
you
have to
very
look at
well.
this thing at the broader scope.
I get you. I get
All
you.
right, then. Cool.
Thank you so much. Again, the calls are coming in. It's a very heated discussion. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, Carlton, I was answering a question, no, my God, I forget. Oh, yeah. When the guy asked you about you and your mother,
Mhm.
and you said about, some certain other social, but would your mother have known that, though?
Would my mother have known what?
Yeah, in terms of
What would I have become?
Wow, yeah.
No, she wouldn't.
Well,
She
exactly.
shouldn't know.
So, yeah, but because you said, well, but there might have been other extenuating circumstances, but your mother wouldn't have known that. So she didn't make a decision based on the probability of any of these things happening. You get my point?
Yeah, I get you.
Right, good. The next point, another caller which made a brilliant point in terms of saying that no, when a woman has an abortion, it doesn't really affect him per se, right? It doesn't affect anybody else. Okay, I'm going to challenge that on the basis that I think broadly this is about justice. And somebody else mentioned the church. I think it goes beyond the church, and it's just about justice, right? Because I would kind of address that point by saying, okay, fine, the woman is having an abortion over there. It doesn't affect me in one way at all. So I'm going to ask, if you see a woman getting raped, like somewhere down the road or getting beaten up, that's not affecting you, right? You're not the one getting beaten up, right?
It would affect me. I don't like.
Feel that something is not wrong. That is happening down there. That is wrong. That is unjust, and you will find a way to stop it.
Yeah,
wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course.
Right, but it doesn't affect you personally because you're not the one getting beaten up.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think that argument could be kind of kind of tempered a bit.
Okay.
There's another point I wanted to raise. My God. Oh yeah. That's right. Somebody said about the woman for the last caller mentioned about the abortion actually having an effect on the nation. I think that's the word. I think so. All right. But I think he's right. But he's right. But I may even want to go into the realm of into the socio-political and the realm of economics, right? Like for instance, I mean, look at China, right? China is in a population slump. That's what they call it, right?
Yeah.
Boom, bust, whatever. Okay.
So they have to control, right? They have to control.
Right. Right. No, it's not that. The thing is, China is now actually in need of a whole gap of people of working force. Why? It's because for the late 60s or 70s, they had this abortion campaign. Right? That's why you hardly have any cousins in China. Right? So there are general national repercussions for this thing. Right? Look at Europe, right? Europe and America, okay? Particularly Europe. Right? They have this culture of abortion. The population isn't growing. Okay? And what do the enemy have to do? Import all the people from all the cultures, all the ideologies. Okay? And right now they have a serious situation because of the clash of ideologies in Europe. Okay,
Thank you.
There are implications of taking up this practice.
Thank you, caller.
Right?
Thank you.
Okay,
very broad,
yeah.
very broad. But the lines are going, and we have just about maybe 5-6 more minutes. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a very interesting conversation here. But you when it comes to certain topic, I don't like to give an opinion for against.
Okay.
Because I am saying most of the people making certain announcements and taking certain positions. You see, like in a conversation on that, I would ask anybody who want to make a comment, ask themselves whether or not they had ever been involved in any process of abortion, either as a man with father or as a woman. Just ask themselves that question and then discuss it after. Because sometimes you hear people make contribution and you think that they're coming from heaven. Okay? I just want them to have that in mind and then discuss the issue. That's just the point I want to make on that.
Thank you, caller.
Yeah.
Thank you. And yes, we have another caller. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Yeah.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, Walix show is off?
No, sir. That's Health Vibes.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks, brother.
All right. Okay, no problem at all. We have another caller. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Yes, Megan. I know this. Why is it only men calling me?
I recognize that. I recognize that too. Only one female called, this morning.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I suspect I recognize that too. Only one female caller we had throughout the entire show today. The men have really been alert and seem to be very much informative regarding this topic. They want to have a say. We've not been hearing many women. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Yes, good morning. Is this Carlton?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning to you.
Yes, good morning, and how are
I
you?
am doing quite well, miss.
Well, I did not hear all the program from the beginning, but I just wanted to share a little 2 cents of mine.
Yes, ma'am.
So, we have some great African scholars, master teachers, and one of them is Dr. John Henry Clark. And I was listening to him the other day, and he said in Africa, before the Europeans went there was no jail, there was no divorce, no disrespect, especially to the elders, no abortion, and everybody lived in harmony. But I personally believe when we as a people were brought to the Western world, and I have also done some research, we were given the ways of the colonizers. Okay? We have forgotten our ways or our way or spirituality as a people because our spirituality was demonized. And everything that we do now is as a result of how our minds were programmed. And I am not against any woman who is raped and has an abortion. But also we have to remember that that child, if the child is aborted, but that is murder, you know? Because there is one prominent brother who was from Grand Bay, and I'm not going to mention his name, for the sake of, keeping his name private. He mentioned to me that his mother was raped, right? But he turned out to be a great person.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, I'm not against the women who do that. But what we have to realize is that child could have been brought into the world and be an example to other people, to let people know, okay, in spite of what my mother went through, I accepted that, and I have a future, before me, and I am going to build on my future and be an example to others who went through that same situation,
Mm-hmm.
right?
But then one may argue too. So, for example, I don't want to. I want to kind of play devil's advocate. So, one may argue, for example, a woman was raped by someone, and she gave birth to this child, and this child is doing well, and this child is going to school, and then people from the very community um, calls or points on that child and reminds the child that you are the seed of a rape, and the child now is psychologically scarred, or even the mother is psychologically scarred and ostracized. What happens in that process now?
Okay, what I can say is that our people are ignorant,
Okay.
and there are lots of things that people share or do or say because of ignorance. They don't know better. Because sometimes our people just make up stories, And like I said, the mother may be blamed, or the child, might be ridiculed. But if we have programs for these women and these children in place, it would not come to that point, where our men too, our men go out with women because they want to have sex, so they just go about and rape women, not even thinking about what the woman is going through. So we should have programs in place for the children and the parents.
Thank you, caller. Thank you for your
Yes,
contribution. Thank you.
you are welcome.
Thank you. And the lines are
Mhm.
just lighting up. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Good morning,
Good
Carlton.
morning to you.
Carlton.
Good morning.
How are you? I did not call because I stayed and listened to the whole program, just
Yes.
listen.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing that you were standing alone like a lone ranger, you did very well by yourself,
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Miss
and
Lucille.
it was good.
Thank you, Miss Lucille.
Have a nice day.
Thank you, my dear.
God bless you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
All right.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, so it's again, I believe it is one of those discussions that is going to continue. Again, regarding the law, regarding many governments, I can tease you this one too. Many governments, when you really speak to politicians themselves, they don't really have a problem with a woman making her choice. But a lot of the times, they are concerned about stealing power, and they're concerned about if they were to overturn such decisions, how it's going to affect their likelihood of being reelected. So that is where, and the very same thing happens with the gay rights and the marijuana debate, and the very same thing with abortion. Politicians are very clever in terms of how they address these matters for their own political exploits and security. So you also have to factorize that too. But if you have a politician friend and you are having a discussion with them at a table, they will tell you, well, they really believe it's a woman's right. But collectively speaking, they don't want to legalize some of these, because they know that religion plays a major role in the way we behave and the way that we act and the way decision makings that we make. And so they try to make sure that they can. So in a sense too, you may ask the question, does do politicians use religion conveniently where it suits them for their own security? So that's another whole big argument. So we can take maybe two more calls. Let's take that quickly. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Again,
Yes, good morning.
how we check Eric David and Arias when David sent Arias to the battlefield to take his wife.
Well, I don't know much about that, not to be honest with you.
Eh?
I don't know much about the Bible stories, so so I can't really.
Well,
I've
well,
heard.
all killing is wrong, you know. The Bible says killing is wrong. And both time, whether innocent or innocent, is wrong. Wrong is wrong. Wrong cannot be right.
Mhm.
So next time man reach you, either you hang the man or send to jail. What is wrong is wrong.
Okay, caller. Let's take a
Yeah.
quick. Yes, thank you for calling. Let's take this last caller. I think this is going to be our last caller. Maybe our last. Yes, let's take this one. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, my God, me again. How are we? Yeah. Well, on the last caller about the Bible, I think it goes beyond the Bible, you know. I mean, that goes to like what I call it, natural law, so to speak, right? Killing is wrong, even if the Bible was not there. I mean, killing is wrong. I mean, killing, unjustifiable killing is wrong.
Mhm.
Okay, so to limit it to the Bible only, I mean, no, that is in any society, killing some innocent person is wrong,
Mhm.
right? So I don't know which church try to just kind of pigeonhole this thing into some kind of biblical stuff or church rights. No. On the point of you mentioned, oh my God, look, I forgot the other point. So are you kidding me, man? I just forgot the other point. I was going to tell you.
Were you talking about the point in the point of the politicians, or that
Yeah,
was?
right. That's it. The politicians, right? That's
Mhm,
it.
mhm.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned about the politicians. Actually, they have their own personal view, right?
Mhm.
But then they have to defer to the public, sentiments.
Mhm,
But it's not what they put there for, right? They're put there to represent the public.
mhm.
Okay, they put it to serve the public. So it's not about their personal opinion. Okay, they have to go by what the public wants. So even if they have their own personal, point of view, okay, they have to hold back on that and they have to do the job that the public put them there to do. Understood?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do see an issue with that in terms of the politicians not wanting to having their own personal stuff, right? Because they have to follow what the people put them there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Okay, lovely. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for the
Yeah, good.
calls. Thank you for the
Yeah.
calls. We are just about out of time. It was really a pleasure being here with you again today for another episode of Hell Vibes. This one, it was almost like have your say, that kind of a thing on a topic that is very contentious. As we said, it is one that provokes a lot of debate. and it is one I'm sure that's going to continue throughout some time. It's going to continue, but it was a pleasure being here with you today. Next week, if God spares, I will not be in next week. I'll not be in. I'll be on a special project for work, a special assignment for work. But I know that Trudy Christian will be in next week, and Jacinta Fagan most likely will be joining her next week on Health Vibes. So from me to you, let me say it was my pleasure being here with you for yet another episode. And as always, your health is indeed your greatest resource. Preserve it. Have a good morning, everybody, and continue to take care of yourself. Bye-bye. Take care.
Who say health cannot have vibes? Well, Jolly's Pharmacy is proving you otherwise. With health